609-403-0973. Yes, 609-403-0973 is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. And last night to me was a perfect example of why what we are going to see this weekend has relevance. Because last night, if you would have told me that the Jags and Jets was going to be a playoff game potentially on Thursday night earlier this year, I would have laughed at you. But you know what? It's exactly what happened last night. And you saw firsthand what happens when you are the team that is basically setting the table for everyone else. Last night, you saw what happens when you have the right players, when a team plays together, when they fight through adversity. That's what happened last night. And that's why tomorrow's game is important. Look, I know as a general principle, tomorrow's game has lost some of its luster. But last night showed you that if a team believes, they can win. If a team believes, they can win. The Dallas Cowboys, if they think they can win tomorrow, they're a very dangerous team. The Jacksonville Jaguars have now won 3 straight games, turning a season of what was supposed to be a rebuild into a season of potential playoffs. I think that you cannot overlook the fact that the Jags went in there with belief and a head coach who believed in them. And they came out with a win. And now, when you look ahead to the weekend, the Eagles and Cowboys, it's probably going to be one of the games that gets the most attention, but it's going to be only one of many important games. Now, we got some interesting Eagles news today. Nothing earth-shattering, nothing, crazy. But there's something important to note about what the Eagles did today. So they had to make some roster decisions official because of the 4 p.m. deadline. Couple things. Number one, Zach Pascal has been cleared from the concussion protocol. He has been upgraded to available for the game. So the only players who are officially out for tomorrow's game is Jalen Hurts and Tyree Jackson. And I know it doesn't look like a huge deal, but I think Zach Pascal being available for the game tomorrow is actually big. I think that there is something about having more than enough options for a quarterback like Minshew that's important. Minshew is not a guy who zeroes in on receivers that often. It's not really one of his go-to moves. You watched him in Jacksonville. You watched him with Philadelphia the last couple of years. He's a guy who says, who's open? I'm throwing it to that guy. That's why in that Jets game, part of the reason why Goddard was open so much is because the Jets defense was so poor last year that they had to basically go out there and throw to the open guy. But you know who else got targets in that game last year? Devonta Smith and Greg Ward. So Pascal, to me, I think could have a role in the game tomorrow. For me, I wouldn't be surprised if Pascal got a few receptions in the game, because if the Cowboys defense, with their numerous injured cornerbacks, focus too much on A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and that they overcompensate for Dallas Goedert, someone's going to be open. And whether that's Quez Watkins or whether that's Zach Pascal or whether that's Jack Stoll, doesn't matter. I feel like Minshew is the kind of guy to say, I'm going to find the open player. The other interesting thing is the Eagles have officially put Christian Ellis on the roster. Now, the corresponding move was Tyree Jackson on injured reserve. That means that Tyree's not available to come back for the rest of this season. He could come back in the playoffs because of the minimum 4 games missed rule. But Ellis is a guy who has changed this special team. This special teams was miserable and poor and pathetic for most of the year. Ellis and the changes they made to special teams, I think, has made a huge difference in turning this team from a team with a good NFL record to a team that can successfully win in the postseason. We don't always value special teams until they fail us. Nobody cares about who the kicker or the punter is until the kicker and punter can't do their job. This special teams unit was poor, very poor at times this year. And Ellis is one of the guys who has made a huge difference. So putting him on the active roster puts him in position to be part of this team for the stretch run. And putting Jackson on injured reserve tells you that the Eagles, they feel like they are not losing a lot in depth without Jackson because of the way Stoll and Calcaterra played in Goddard's absence. This is a team that scored, 35, 40 points without Dallas Goedert. They were putting up big points against the Titans and the Giants without Goddard. And the Packers game with the run game. And a part of that was Stoll and Calcaterra having a role in that. So moving forward, it might not be the guys who you expect to be the stars or the role players to step up, but there's a very strong possibility that it's the role guys who help them win some of these games down the stretch. And listen, I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles don't play all their starters on New Year's Day. If they win this game on Saturday, there's a possibility it's first half starter, second half role player to finish out the game. And the reality is that the Eagles' backups are better than many of the Saints starters. The Saints offense is pathetic on many levels. Literally, it's Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, and you and me and a partridge in a pear tree playing for the Saints offense. They got some good talent on defense, but they're a little banged up there as well. The Saints are a very beatable team. So you might be seeing more of these role players down the stretch. They may have an impact on winning some of these games down the stretch, which is important because God forbid someone does get injured in the postseason. You need these guys to step up. And back to last night, what did you see in the Jags-Jets game? It was Doug Peterson getting a buy-in from the entire team to go out there and win an ugly game in ugly weather conditions. Trevor Lawrence didn't start out the game very well, and he got much more steady and much more reliable as the game went on. And that was arguably the best performance by the Jags defense all year. I mean, the Jets even brought in a gimmick quarterback, and that wasn't even enough. So, again, I think that this is going to be a very interesting game tomorrow. I'll give you my full pick and keys for the game a little bit later in the hour. Text board is open as always, 609-403-0973. You'll also take in your DMs into the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Game night being brought to you by my friends over at Jenkins & Sons. Jenkins & Sons, one call does it all. No need to call the drain guy, the heater guy, or the plumbing guy because Jenkins technicians got you covered. From heating and air conditioning installation, service and maintenance, water heaters, boilers, leaks, whatever you need done, Jenkins has got you covered. Give them a call at 609-641-6262 and visit them online at jenkinsandsons.com. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Jeff in Ocean City chimes in and says, Josh, the Sixers are red hot right now, and I believe their win streak will hit 9 before losing at New Orleans next Friday. My two best bet plays for tomorrow are Minnesota -4, San Francisco 6.5. Interested to hear yours. By the way, thanks for the advice yesterday with the Jags. Well, Jeff and Ocean say I can always depend on you to hear me my advice and take it. So, maybe I'll see you again this weekend over at yesterday's in Marmora, but I'll probably be there for the Eagles game tomorrow, honestly, because I got to come in tomorrow and be with Billy Schweim in the locker room here on 97.3 ESPN in the morning. Billy will be back for the Eagles pregame show tomorrow and then New Year's Day and then the Giants game. So Billy Schweim is still doing the Eagles pregame shows. Just because it's Christmas Eve doesn't mean I'm still working tomorrow. But Jeff in Ocean City, my only problem with the Minnesota -4 is I think there's a strong possibility the Giants can win that game. You have to wonder how much energy was expended by the Vikings to come back and win that game against the Oilers. I think there's a strong possibility the Giants, who are a confident team right now, could go and take out Minnesota. 4 is not a big number. It's not like it's a situation where you're saying one team is dominant. I think the number is 4 because I think there's a lot of people out there who are waffling back and forth on this game, because if it was a little bit of a closer of a number, maybe it would swing the bets a little bit of a different direction. So to me, Jeff in Ocean City, I think that the Giants are a live dog in that game. And the other one you asked about was San Fran. I love San Fran tomorrow. I think Kinlaw coming back is a huge deal for that San Fran defense. I think Washington is in trouble. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a low-scoring, just slug it out kind of game. Now, the number on the spread is a little dicey, but you know what? 6.5 is not that bad. To me, probably the number I would like even better is probably, right now it's 37.5. Do they even score 30 points in that game? I mean, maybe 20-10. I don't see a scenario with some points scored. I think Chase Young does have an impact on that game as well. Of course, don't forget Eagles football tomorrow. Pre-game coverage begins at 3 p.m. Merrill is Mike Quick on the call at 4:25 here on 97.3 ESPN. The aforementioned Sixers, Jeff in Ocean City mentioned, they will be on Sunday at 12 p.m. And following that, we will pick up in progress the slate of Sunday games. The first game is Packers-Dolphins, followed by Broncos-Rams, Bucks-Cardinals. It's a shame that only 2 of those games have any real relevance on Christmas Day. You would thought with the Packers have a very slim chance of making the postseason. Dolphins are fighting for playoff seeding. Bucks are trying to lock up their division. Cardinals are a dumpster fire. Rams are basically playing out the string. No Aaron Donald in the game this weekend. And Broncos, well, they're a hot mess. We'll get more into the NFL coming up next. Andy McNamara joins me every Friday to talk NFL right here on GameNight with me, Josh Hennig, on 97.3 ESPN FM and 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
This is the radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. The Eagles continue the 2022 season tomorrow in Dallas against the Cowboys.
And he will not go. Elliott is plucked down at the line of scrimmage, and the Cowboys will have to punt.
Pre-game coverage starts at noon with Merrill Reese and Mike Quick calling all the action starting at 1 p.m. This is where the Philadelphia Eagles play. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's official Eagle station.
Exciting news. There's a new way to head to Florida for some sunshine. It's with Avelo. Hello, Avelo. Save $20 off round-trip flights with promo code ESPN20 when you book and fly by April 30th, 2023. Avelo flies from Wilmington Airport to 5 different Florida destinations. So no more driving to Philly. No more dealing with parking hassle. Low fares for Avelo start at just $49 each way. Flights begin February 1st. Save $20 off round-trip flights with promo code ESPN20 when you book and fly by April 30th, 2023. Book now at AveloAir.com.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
And now Martha Stewart for Skechers.
When I make a dish or embark on a craft project, I always use the finest, most fabulous ingredients and materials. Which is why, when it comes to footwear, I love Skechers. Because Skechers is the comfort technology company and uses the most luxurious, innovative materials and designs to make wondrously comfortable footwear with all the fits and features like Arch Fit and Skechers' world-famous air-cooled memory foam. It's exactly the way I'd make shoes.
Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
Matt Flat Nissan is now open on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, next to Home Depot. Get out of that old car, truck, or SUV and into a brand new Nissan. The all-new Matt Flat Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township, or visit us online, mattflatnissan.com.
I never write reviews, but Navage is so amazing, I had to leave one. Nothing's ever cleared out my sinuses as well. I'm blown away by how Navage works. That's a review from Carrie, and it's one of over 100,000 online testimonials praising Navage. I'm Martin Hoke, the inventor of Navage Nasal Care, and I've talked about flushing out allergens, viruses, mucus, and germs, how Navage's powered suction can help you breathe better, and how your nose is the body's air filter, and Navage will clean it out. But don't take my word for it. What do people like Chad say, who wrote, Navage has helped clear out my nasal passages every single night. My wife says my snoring has gone way down. Snorefest be gone, unquote. Navage is the all-natural solution trusted by over 3 million customers to help you breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier without drugs. Navage is available at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, Target, and online. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
The holidays are here. Achieve gifting greatness when you give perfectly aged, tender, delicious Omaha steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide. Plus, when you use code SIZZLE at checkout, you get an extra $40 off your order. Omaha Steaks is ready to ship curated special take the guesswork out of gifting packages right away. So beat the rush and be a holiday hero. Shop omahasteaks.com. Use promo code SIZZLE at checkout for that extra $40 off your order. Minimum order may be required.
This holiday ad will be over in 27 seconds. Unlike the new Duracell battery with Power Boost ingredients that can last 19,976 seconds in your kid's RC motorcycle, or 6,801 seconds on your beard trimmer for this year's family photo, or 15,172 seconds on your electric frother for some holiday eggnog, and many more seconds to get more out of your holiday season. Duracell, unlike this ad, engineered for more.
Why would someone looking for a mortgage at the Jersey Shore take a loan from a company in Detroit or North Carolina or some other far-off place? Online mortgages promise a lot but don't always deliver. First Bank of Sea Isle City knows the Jersey Shore. We are local lenders. We use local appraisers and provide in-house processing. We understand the unique obstacles of financing in Cape May County. Don't take a chance. Local banking is better. Let us guide you. First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
It's the day before Christmas Day. Eagles play on Christmas Eve. Sixers play on Christmas Day. And you hear both right here on your home for Eagles, Sixers, college football, bowl games, NFL primetime, Flyers hockey, and more. 97.3 ESPN FM. Let's dig deeper into the NFL as we do each and every Friday throughout the football season. Andy McNamara is back. You can follow him on Twitter at AndyMC81, where you can check him and all of his 20 different shows and platforms that he does out. Andy, welcome back, my friend. How are you doing?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody. Hope everyone's feeling good.
Well, I think we're feeling as good as can be expected, considering that the Eagles are playing on at 4:25 on Christmas Eve. You know, there's a lot of people who have a little consternation about that time and all that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know what? You get the gift that keeps on giving. That is Gardner Minshew, at least, right? You get the mustache powers back, the jorts, the glasses, you know, the bandana, all of it. I hope I see some jorts out of old Minshew, or I'll be disappointed.
Now, you're wearing the professional fantasy football player shirt. So, yes, for the people who have been eliminated from the fantasy football playoffs, are you saying DFS start Minshew tomorrow?
Well, first, Josh, if anyone wants this great shirt, you can go on my Twitter. It's pinned, and Instagram at AndyMC81 at AndyMC Sports. You can buy it. You can buy an Andy exclusive shirt, baby. Just saying. Always selling right up to the end. Josh, that'll be the last words. Buy this and I'll die. I'd have it no other way. Minshew, yes. I think there's a path for Minshew. Now, here's where, if you're looking at your DFS contest outside of your fantasy football playoffs, there's also a way that can make sense to play Gardner Minshew. But for DFS, you have to look at it at a value sense and those contrarian plays, which are so important. So if you're not in your fantasy football playoffs, you're playing your DFS, and okay, well, if everyone picks Patrick Mahomes, right? So that's fine. So if you pick Patrick Mahomes and he has a great day, doesn't do you any good. If you pick Gardner Minshew, his salary is going to be lower, his DFS salary, and if he pops, he's going to be less chosen than most others, and that's how usually you try to win some of those bigger contests in those contrarian plays.
Now, I'm seeing some of the odds right now. Minshew is an over-under of somewhere, depending on what sportsbook you look at, between 236 and 228 on the passing yards. But I'm not sure. Like, are we really sure he's going to get a ton of passing yards? Because to me, when I'm seeing that he set an over-under of 1.5 touchdowns, might be a possibility he has 2-3 touchdowns, but not a ton of passing yards, Andy.
Yeah, I think this, fantasy-wise, this is a big day for the Eagles running backs. I think it's a big day. I think it's going to be a big day for Miles Sanders because, of course, with Jalen Hurts, the issue is always, well, he can run in his own touchdowns. And we've seen him do that once, twice, sometimes 3 times a game. So that really puts any running back situation in question if you have him on your fantasy football team. In this case with Gardner Minshew, while mobile, you're not going to be having the same type of designed run plays for Gardner Minshew. So that really, to me, ups the Miles Sanders. So for those Miles Sanders owners or DFS-wise, I would love to get him in that game, especially against a Dallas rush defense that isn't that good.
Also, Dallas is without 2 corners for the rest of the year, Jordan Lewis and Anthony Brown. No Leighton Vander Esch for the game on Saturday as well. Right. We should remind folks about that. So it's not like Dallas's defense 100%. And Diggs is still up in the air because he's getting over the illness that knocked Micah Parsons out of practice early this week. So, it's not like Dallas is coming into this game 100%, not even a little bit. And coming off of a game where they allowed over 500 total yards in Jacksonville.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Absolutely. Not 100%. And this is, I really do wish that we would be able to have the Jalen Hurts, the true heavyweight battle that we were hoping for, talking about at the upcoming weeks. The Minshew parts can be fun and it'll be a very good game, I'm sure. But that's the disappointing part. We don't get that. But now it's like, okay, yeah, what is Gardner Minshew? How is he used? What's the strategy and game plan? And again, I think it should be, at least to try out at first, a run-focused one. And yet for Dallas, defensively, lots of holes there. What do the Eagles do if the Cowboys jump out to a quick lead? How does that look? How do they counter-punch that? Because on offense, at least for their weapon-wise, they're looking to get in tune for the playoffs.
Andy, let me ask you this. All right. We know that if Dallas doesn't win this game, they're out of the division run. Okay. Yep. Dallas has got a very interesting schedule down the stretch. Thursday night versus Tennessee, the following week of the season against Washington. If you are somebody who's trying to look at Dallas as someone to ride with, like a CeeDee Lamb or a Tony Pollard, are you starting to have to back off some of those guys down the stretch of Dallas as a win on Saturday?
Well, I guess it really depends on if you're probably in your fantasy semifinals, if not at least into the playoffs and the finals. It all comes down to always with questions like that, Josh, who would you play otherwise? So if you're not going to play CeeDee Lamb, even with the points you make are valid, but if you're not going to play CeeDee Lamb, who do you got to replace him? If you're not going to play Zeke Elliott, who you gonna replace him with? So that's really what it comes down to for me. Is the replacement option better than maybe a CeeDee Lamb, even if that offense or situation isn't at its peak?
It's a very good question. Andy, I wanted to ask you about last night's Thursday football game. Before we get to that, I want to let you know that your boy River Craycraft is doubtful for the game on Sunday versus the Packers.
Oh, weren't we so close? What were those odds? We were so close on hitting on that plus like 1,000 on a River Craycroft.
I think it was like
TV.
plus like 1,800 or something.
We'd
a
be
couple
rich.
years.
We've been doing the show from a beach. I know. We're so close on the Anytime River Craycroft. Oh well, that's why I'm hawking professional football shirts.
Yeah, for those who don't know, back during the COVID, when River Craycraft got called up because half the 49ers got ruled out due to COVID on Thursday Night Football, and River Craycraft had a touchdown but was called back due to a penalty.
Oh.
And me and Andy were just bashing our heads into the table like, come on, man.
So close. And we picked him solely because his name was like so
ridiculous.
I don't know, ridiculous. It's a crazy name.
Well, he was like the only guy playing. They were
the hipster name.
It was no Deebo Samuel, no Brandon Ayuk. There was no George Kittle. I forget who else didn't play in that game. Like it was like 7 guys who were all ruled out all due to COVID. It was a mess.
So close for old Rib.
Yeah. So last night to me is an amazing example of why we love football. Because if you would have asked me 5 weeks ago about the Jags, I'm like, you know what? It's a rebuilding year. It's all good. Doug will get him straightened out next year. They have now beaten the Titans in Tennessee before Tannehill got injured. They beat the Dallas Cowboys in overtime. And then on Thursday Night Football, they basically looked like they were the only team that wanted to win out there. And now they are right there in the conversation to win the division with Tannehill. Pretty much look like if he's not done for the year, at least done for 2 weeks.
Wild. I want all of it. I've just this is such a fun storyline. From Doug Peterson going over to Trevor Lawrence. We talked about it all year. Can he shake the stink of Urban Meyer? And the answer is yes. Like fantasy, like Josh, fantasy-wise, the guy's been an absolute stud. Going into last night's game, he had I think he got 18, 19 fantasy points last night. But he had over 21 fantasy points in like 5 of his last 6. The guy's been clicking. The offenses. And when you have somebody like a Doug Peterson and you got this team, and now you got that belief, right? However you think the team's built, you got that belief. And they may have ended Zach Wilson's career. They really might. They might have retired Zach Wilson.
Zach Wilson ended Zach Wilson's career. Let's be realistic.
And we've talked about. I thought Zach Wilson and his tiny shoulders were just the worst from day one. I didn't think he was a fit at all. And it's proven true. What a decline for the Jets. Just hot start and down. And so now you look at the Jags, and you're right. Tannehill's out. Think about it this way. People say, oh, they're playing the Houston Texans. Well, the last time they played the Houston Texans, they didn't let Malik Willis throw the football. When he played his 3 games, he didn't throw the football more than 10 times. He did. And what's more concerning to me is not that you didn't let a young quarterback throw the ball a lot. That could make a lot of sense. But he's a fast quarterback. He's a running quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback, and you didn't let him run either. They let Malik Willis do nothing, Josh. Nothing. It was just like, give it to Derrick Henry and get out of the way. Does that continue? Why aren't they letting Malik Willis at least be some sort of playmaker with his legs? It's baffling. And they are on the steep decline. And I want the Jags to win that division. That'd be a heck of a story.
I mean, it's so weird because, like, before this year, we looked at the Colts and Titans as two like bona fide potential playoff teams, right? Yeah. And now they both look like they're in limbo. I mean, the Titans fired their GM halfway through the year. Their starting quarterback, who they gave a ton of money to, apparently he injured both of his ankles now, and that's why he's out. Which
the old Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz played on 2 messed up ankles. Apparently, Tannehill's not as tough as Carson Wentz is, whatever that's supposed to be. But but still, like, and then the Colts, like, I mean, they fire Reich and they kept playing Matt Ryan, and their defense is trash. And it's
Foles is in.
And now Foles is in, and they'll probably win 2 of the next 3 games because Nick Foles is Nick Foles, and people will be screaming from the heavens about Nick Foles, you know. So it's like, and there comes just Doug Peterson, you know, with the Jags van, like, hey, I remodeled this thing.
Yep, he does that with his AEW crew, Tony Khan, the wrestling guys all around. I love it. Yeah, like, doesn't it seem, though, that Nick Foles should be, like, 45 years old? Like, it just seems like the way he's 33.
He's not old.
He's not old. But you know what it is? He keeps being put in situations where he's stuck behind people
who are the presumptive starters,
Yeah.
So it's like with Wentz in Philadelphia or Trubisky in Chicago or now Matt Ryan in Indianapolis. Before that, it was Carson Wentz again, right? It's this whole thing where Foles, he keeps being brought in there to be the break glass in case of emergency guy. But then what happens is his teams wait so long to break the glass, the house is already burned down.
It's too late. It's too late. I just think it would have been really fun if Foles was still with the Eagles and then he takes you guys to another Super Bowl, like backdoors his way in. How amazing would that be?
Listen, he may be back in Philadelphia next year because Minshew is going to be a free agent. And I guarantee you, when Minshew has a good couple games down the stretch here, he's going to get some cashola in free agency from somebody desperate to get a quarterback.
Why not the Colts? They're pretty desperate. You're not going with Sam Ehlinger. What are they doing in Indy?
Colts are probably going to draft a quarterback.
If they're smart, but they're not. But Irsay, at least Irsay doesn't get the break. They're not bad enough to get the first overall pick.
Here's the problem with Irsay, and the problem with Irsay is I don't think Irsay knows what he wants. And the problem is when you have someone with a ton of money who doesn't know what they want, they're prone to irrational decision making. Like it's not like Chris Ballard is a bad drafter, but here and there they do some weird things, right? Like we all thought that the Matt Ryan trade was going to work. But then this whole situation with Shaq Leonard, he's healthy. He's not. He's healthy. He's not. And it's like, well, why didn't you like bring in anybody to like beef up the linebacking core if you knew Leonard was going to have health issues? And it's like weird stuff like that. And it's like, you saw the Colts, like they have enough talent to be competitive,
right?
But they don't know how to finish games. And this is now multiple games under Jeff Saturday. They have literally just choked away.
And Matt Ryan being like you've seen all the memes. Like Matt Ryan has quarterbacked the epic collapses in like all stages. I think even preseason they said like every stage of epic collapse, Matt Ryan has been at quarterback for. And you know what? Yeah, from hindsight, the deal made sense because it looked like the Colts on paper could have been a veteran, solid QB away from making that step from taking the division with a little bit of luck. Well, it didn't go that way. Matt Ryan it's done. And now you have to totally regroup and you lost Jonathan Taylor. And where do you go in that division? Right. And really, let's look ahead too for Tennessee. This is again for Ryan Tannehill. We're at like season 1.5 of him sort of being like, he's kind of back to Miami Ryan, right? It's like not great, not the guy that came in, not the guy. Can you really rely on Tannehill being the future? It looks like at least right now they don't have confidence in Malik Willis. I sure don't. He's a slower Lamar Jackson in my mind. You can't bad accuracy, and now it's fast and smaller. So where are you going with quarterback if it's not Tannehill? So that whole division is really up for grabs.
But if those who are wondering, the final 3 games for the Titans, we mentioned Saturday versus Houston, who, by the way, just took the Chiefs to overtime last week, for goodness sake. Dallas on Thursday night, and they finished the year in Jacksonville against the Jags. And we all saw that story, what happened last year for the Colts, how that went really bad quick.
Boy, you know what? I don't have the sports book up in front of me, but I'd love to see. I wonder what the odds for the Jags to win the division are now. Like, have they jumped up already, or I wonder if there's still some good money line, some good takes on that.
I will try to pull that up as we talk. While we talk, I want to ask you about a couple other games. First of all, I mentioned the Dolphins Packers game in passing, but I mean, do we have any real faith in either of those teams moving forward? Like, I know the Dolphins have had a good year, but Tua's had some up and down games. Rodgers is trying to will his team into the postseason. What do we do with that game?
This game a month ago looked like, at least for the Dolphins, it would be very interesting and important. And it still is, but it's not nearly as exciting. Aaron Rodgers, and I'm bitter. I've never drafted Aaron Rodgers in fantasy, and I did this year. What a bust. What a bust. Absolutely. So mad. So mad. But now you have the Dolphins, who before it was Tua's, they've won like 5. They hadn't lost when Tua started and finished the game. And now we've seen them lose 3 in a row. Now, tough games, but people were talking about the Miami Dolphins as potential division champs, potential guys that could go to the conference championships. So guess what? You have to win tough games. You have to win difficult games. And it hasn't been happening that way. Now, the Packers is a winnable game at home, absolutely. But then you finish with the Patriots, never an easy out, and the Jets,
in New
division games.
England.
Yeah, New England, yeah, and the Jets, and weird things can happen in division games. I think they're trending in the wrong direction, and that's a very interesting question that Miami now has to answer, because coming into this year, Miami and Philadelphia both had the question of, are our quarterbacks our future? And both teams put pieces around them. Miami even more so than Philly, but Eagles went and got A.J. Brown, and you had everything kind of built up nicely. Miami, Tyreek Hill, they got Waddle, and everything was set up. Well, Philly, I think, has your answer. Jalen Hurts, we've been praising him since before he was drafted here on the show. But for Tua, they're not going to write him off, of course, but what are the expectations now for the Dolphins if you finish the season on this decline and in a possibility where you don't make the playoffs? That would be really interesting.
By the way, here in New Jersey, I cannot find plus money anywhere for the Jags to win the division.
Oh, okay.
They are now the betting favorite at the majority of books.
Yeah, we're probably a few days late on that. Darn it. If we would have looked earlier in the week before the Jets game, maybe.
Listen, the ship is sailed, but, we kind of cashed in otherwise, because I told people last night I think the Jags outright on the money line. And I had Jacksonville winning on Sunday as well. So at least I got something out of that.
Yeah, exactly. The Jets, well coached. They're playing above their means. Same with the Giants, well coached, playing above where they're at. And for any New York Jets fans, they're like, oh, just wait till Mike White comes back. Come on, really? Mike White's your guy. Okay.
People don't realize that the Jets had 2 season-ending injuries to offensive linemen this year. So the Jets are not even 100% anyway.
But Mike White isn't that good. Mike White's a fine backup who can come in and play well as a good backup. Flacco's done. Zach Wilson stinks, and you got Mike White. So what are you doing with the Jets at quarterback?
Gardner Minshew?
He could bring in the old Minch. Could bring him
in. You mentioned the Giants. They're at Minnesota. Dude, I got a sneaky suspicion the Giants can make a game of this. I don't know. Did the Vikings just burn all their energy in that comeback, on Saturday? Now the Giants come into town, and the Giants, it's a 4 or 3.5 spread in that game. I just wonder. It's like, the Giants, they went on prime time. Maybe they got a little extra confidence boost coming in here.
I'm looking at this this game. It's funny you say that, Josh, because that game jumped out to me. Yeah, Giants won, beat Washington, right? They were in a funk for sure. But you got this Vikings team, that has lost baffling games. You're like, no way they're going to lose that. And they do, or needed that epic comeback. I'm seeing Giants money line straight up win plus 170. I wouldn't be shocked if the Giants won that game at all. I wouldn't be shocked. A plus 170, I might sprinkle a little bit on that because that's looking pretty good. But the overall theme, I think, for this weekend, Josh, if you're anything from Chicago East, is take the under on total points if you're outside. Just oof. In Cleveland, it's dropped to 32, apparently the lowest point total since 2008. Crazy weather's coming.
Yeah, the weather temperature is going to match the over-unders at this point.
Yeah, it's everything is screaming unders to a lot of these games. So, I think that's probably some of the easiest money you'll make this weekend is looking and saying, where's the weather, and take the under.
I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I see at least 5 games off the top of my head that all should go under now.
I'm considering Kansas City in that one too, because KC's supposed to have some bad weather.
I'm not considering Kansas City because both defenses are mediocre. So, no, I'm looking at Saints Browns.
Yeah.
I'm looking at Bengals Patriots.
Yes.
I'm looking at Lions Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at where's the next one I saw? Texans Titans.
Right.
Commanders 49ers.
Mm-hmm.
Raiders Steelers.
Definitely.
Broncos Rams.
Yeah. Bills Bears are interesting, 40.5. Again, it really depends on the wind. This is where we have to put on our weatherman hats, because it's not so much the cold, it's the wind. If you get that wind, then although Josh Allen can throw through anything, you probably won't want to. So that's
the problem is if Allen tries to throw through it and the wind catches it anyway, it might go into the stands.
Yeah, it's going to sail out of the stadium. Yeah, absolutely. So you look at those games. I would again check sort of that wind in Kansas City because that can be nasty. But you're right, the defenses aren't great there. And then you look at another one. I don't know if you said Baltimore, Atlanta, Falcons, or Ravens. I don't know if you said that one or not. But
I didn't say that one. It probably will be an under because
Tyler Huntley in at QB.
It's also Desmond Ritter. He didn't look that great last week against the Saints. And
I like him overall, but not now.
Listen, they got to give the Ravens credit. The Ravens defense is playing well overall.
Except for last week against my Browns. It
was like, what, 13-3?
Oh, it's beautiful. Best 13-3 win. Anytime I can beat the Raptors, I love it.
It's still 13, man.
I'll take the dub. I went 1-31, Josh. I'll take any win. No win is taken for granted. But no, the defense is the strength of that team. The running game is the strength of that team. Here's what was really odd, and it was very, I was very thankful that John Harbaugh and the Ravens did this. They stopped running the football when J.K. Dobbins, Josh, this is real number. J.K. Dobbins was averaging a first down a carry, 9.6 yards a carry, and they stopped running the ball. Why? It's fine by me. But
I asked the question earlier to Mike Gill on the Sports Bash. I said, is there a chance Greg Roman is not here back next year if Lamar Jackson leaves? Like, is there a chance that they say,
franchise him?
I mean, do the Ravens just say, Greg Roman, Lamar Jackson, or wash your hands, we're going to hit the reset button and spend all of our money on a rebuild?
I hope so. That'd be really nice.
And then we'll draft the quarterback and see what happens.
Yeah, like I think Lamar Jackson's going to be franchise tagged. You're not going to get the big money ship sailed. You're an injury prone guy, and it keeps happening.
Here's my conspiracy theory for you. Here's my theory. Brady plays one more year. He goes to Vegas or San Francisco. Tampa gets Lamar Jackson.
Ooh, that'd be interesting.
Because they got a lot of money invested in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, right?
Yeah.
Their offensive line is in shambles due to free agency and injuries and all that stuff. If you have a quarterback who can run and you have receivers who maybe learn how to catch again, it might work.
It could be, and maybe it's is there a sign, franchise tag and some sort of sign and trade or something? Who knows? Who knows how creative you get? I'm saying though, for this weekend, if you're looking for your fantasy playoffs or DFS, stack J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, both of them, because Tyler Huntley, not good. This just in. Those two guys, I bet they learned. As much as I hate the Ravens, they're not stupid for multiple weeks. They should and could and have to run the football. Whereas you look at a Mark Andrews, like Josh, coming into the year, it was a consensus. Fantasy, it's Kelsey, it's Andrews, it's everybody else.
Yep.
Not the last half of this season. I don't think that guy's right since his injury.
No. He's Andy McNamara. Follow him on Twitter at AndyMC81. Andy, what shows are you doing and not doing this weekend?
Yes, so I did my usual Sunday show yesterday, and actually just released, coming out right now on YouTube, the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. Got on my fantasy football, hashtag Ask Andy. Best bet advice as well, going from the betting side to the fantasy side. Preview Brown Saints, a lot of fun in there also, and you can check out the great gear on the website too. So lots of good stuff there. That's up on YouTube and my social media right now.
The professional fantasy football player's shirt. It's a pretty sweet shirt.
It's nice feel, Josh. It's good. Great for the holidays. Come on. Help old Andy out. Let's go.
I feel like a lot of people are more worried about how much they're going to crank the heat up than how comfortable the shirt is this weekend.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You can use it for kindling.
Dude, it's already 24, 22 degrees here right now.
Oh, it's crazy here. The wind's whistling outside here.
We are supposed to have the coldest Christmas in like 30 years here in South Jersey.
Wow, really? Eesh. Yeah, probably about the same around here. It's good. As long as everybody stays safe, and guess what? You don't have to be in the stands. Relax, watch the football, and let's have some eggnog, have some fun.
Andy, Merry Christmas. I always appreciate you coming on, and we'll reconnect buddy. For next week.
Absolutely. Merry Christmas to you, all the listeners. Love you guys. Talk to you later.
Josh Hennig here on GameNight, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank. See how we'll wrap up the hour. On the other side, don't forget Sixers basketball tonight versus the Clippers. They're looking for 9 straight home wins. How about that? Tom McGinnis on the call on 97.3 ESPN.
It's Sixers basketball tonight on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Milt steals it up, Beverly into the lane, left hand, jam! Shank Milt ducks the ball. Timeout Clippers. He beats business.
It's Sixers Clippers tonight. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
'Twas the month of December, and all through the lot, people were shouting about the offers they got.
I got more for my trade.
These are the best prices in town.
They bailed me out of my loan. I was upside down.
If you're worried about credit, stop. Just apply, because the staff at Matt Platt Mitsubishi wants to see you in a new ride. Ho, ho, ho. So if you have a job clearing $350 per week at Matt Platt Mitsubishi, you're virtually approved. Plus, every new Mitsubishi Outlander SUV puts 0 down and 0% APR financing for 36 months. Worried that your credit will keep you from getting a new ride? Matt Platt Mitsubishi wants to finance your future, not your past. Simply Matt Platt Mitsubishi. Requalifications exist. Not all will qualify. $27.78 per thousand finance not approved with Tier 1 credit. Rebates and incentives to dealer. Or call 844-946-2315 for complete details. Plus tax, license, registration fees. Offers can't be combined. Expires 12/31/22. So come in today and get your deal your way. Located right in the heart of Glassboro for over 30 years.
Wireless headphones. That'll be $200.
I'll use my Capital One Quicksilver card.
Now that's a hit. You used the Capital One Quicksilver card, which makes you the hero of every purchase. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere.
I wanted running music, but unlimited 1.5% cash back is pretty heroic.
Good instincts. Every hero needs a theme song. The Capital One Quicksilver card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details. Have you been naughty or nice this year? Cash don't care. At Jackson Hewitt, you could still get up to $4,500 for the holidays. Some bucks now, more bucks in January. So be naughty. Snap up all the ginger snaps. Wear a pretty sweater to an ugly sweater holiday party. You could still get up to $4,500 when you go to Jackson Hewitt today. Details at jacksonhewitt.com. Eligible clients can get up to $1,000 in December and up to $3,500 in January. Loans by Republic Bank and Trust Company. Finance charge may apply.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
And now Martha Stewart for Skechers.
When I make a dish or embark on a craft project, I always use the finest, most fabulous ingredients and materials. Which is why, when it comes to footwear, I love Skechers. Because Skechers is the comfort technology company and uses the most luxurious, innovative materials and designs to make wondrously comfortable footwear with all the fits and features like Arch Fit and Skechers' world-famous air-cooled memory foam. It's exactly the way I'd make shoes.
Find Skechers at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
The holidays are a time to unwind. At least they should be. So tune everything out and find some peace of mind in the turbocharged Acura Integra. Spend some quality time with the family in the spacious MDX Type S. Unwind at the Acura Season of Performance going on now. Acura, precision crafted performance.
Visit your Delaware Valley Acura dealer to find your Acura today.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Listen up, South Jersey football fans. Are you interested in solar? Want a free roof? EMT Solar and Roofing has you covered. Visit ESPNsolar.com to see if your home qualifies for a free roof with solar installation. Don't wait, act now. Start saving thousands and virtually extinguish your electric bill. ESPNSolar.com is the place to go for your roofing or solar needs. No commitments, no hidden fees. Go to ESPNSolar.com to see if you qualify.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, wrapping up the hour. It's the day before the Eagles take on the Cowboys on Christmas Eve. Look, I think the Eagles win this game. I think it comes down to two things specifically. Number one, I don't think we realize that the Cowboys defense is not as good as it used to be because of all the injuries. I think it's a huge part of the problem for Dallas. And I think the other issue tomorrow is going to be the fact that when you break it down, I don't think that Dallas is going to have an answer for the Eagles pass rush. I'll give you guys an official score tomorrow when I co-host with Billy Schwein. I'm guest hosting tomorrow for Christmas Eve. Eagles pregame show in the locker room, 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN. But I like the Gardner Minshew over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Over on the text board, 609-403-0973. Jay in Atlantic City. So I feel like this is our year. We got a chance while Brady is on a bad team. Dallas is all over the place. The Chiefs are good, but missing pieces. Josh Allen might need another year, and Rodgers is out of it. This has to be our year, right? I'm here for it either way. Thanks for a great 2022. That's Jay in Atlantic City. Jay, appreciate you chiming in. Appreciate you listening in. Also, shout out to Jeff in Ocean City for always texting in to the show. Before I get out of here, if I can just send out a special message at the end of the show. This time of year, there's a lot of people who are going through and dealing with a lot of things. They don't ask for help. They don't look for help. So my Christmas wish is that everyone listening to the sound of my voice on 97.3 ESPN FM or listening on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app, wherever you're catching the show, I would ask that every one of you, if you are in a position to do something for somebody, don't just go find some person who is at the rescue mission or somebody who is overtly in need. There's a lot of people who are in need who don't look or act like they're in need. So my Christmas wish and prayer is that you help somebody this holiday season. Merry Christmas. Have a great, everybody. Sixers basketball next.
Saturday morning, while you're doing your last-minute Christmas shopping, listen to The Locker Room with Billy Schwein. Josh Hennig will join me in the studio for our Eagles pregame show. The sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan checks in from Las Vegas, brought to you by Dino's Subs and Pizza of Margate. Then we will get the keys to the game with Fox 29 News sports anchor Scott Grayson, brought to you by Van Brill Pools. Next, it's the fantasy football guru Brian Hartley, brought to you by Padula Masonry. It's a jam-packed show. The Locker Room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
Health update with